And good morning, Finger Lakes. Jim Sinacrope sitting in for the Dog H. Weber. Another edition of Weber This Week. Weber will be back next Monday, but I'm here this morning to talk about Syracuse basketball in August. That's right, Syracuse basketball is back this week, heading to Canada, playing 4 exhibition games against some pretty stiff competition. They're going to be playing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and all games are going to be televised on Time Warner Cable Sports. So, great chance to get a look at the Orange in August, and 4 days in a row. Now, no word whether freshman Tyler Roberson or Chinoso Oboko will play. They've been waiting for to be cleared by the NCAA clearinghouse. Jeremy Grant, who had mononucleosis, is recovered, and he should be good to go. But the main reason that this is a great opportunity for Syracuse is that we have inexperienced guards this year. So freshman starting point guard, or at least who we anticipate will be our starting point guard, Tyler Ennis. We'll get a first look at him. His first chance to play in game competition. Ron Patterson, another freshman from Indiana. We're going to get a look at him. Michael Benajay, the 6'7" shooting guard, transfer from Duke, who sat out last year, practiced with the team. We're going to get a look at him. I predict he's going to be a pretty key component to this team. And, of course, our other guard, Trevor Cooney, who I guess you might want to say much maligned Trevor Cooney. But we're going to get a look at him, too, and see how he's improved on his game in the offseason. So this isn't going to be your typical exhibition games. Just last week, TCU played these same teams, and a couple of these teams beat them by double digits. So it'll be a good test as we get closer to the season. An historic season for Syracuse basketball, first in the ACC. And, I guess the program keeps rolling along. Last week we got word that we got a commit from a 2014 point guard named Caleb Joseph. So I suppose we'll call him K-Joe version 2, maybe. But he's joined in another highly touted recruit, a power forward named Chris McCullough for the class of 2014. So a bit of a golden age here for Syracuse. And while we wait for Syracuse football to open against Penn State later this month, actually in about 12 days, we got 4 Syracuse basketball games on tap this week, televised live on Time Warner Cable Sports. So certainly something different, but something to look forward to for us Syracuse basketball fans. Now, another big topic in the world of Syracuse basketball the past couple weeks has been the idea of moving the court to the middle of the dome for the Duke game on February 1st. ESPN College Game Day is going to be there. They anticipate that if we put the court in the middle of the dome, that we could draw 50,000 for that game. Personally, I'm not a big fan of doing that right now. I think if we just went status quo, we could still break the record. We could still have 35,000 fans for that Duke game, and we're going to have more of a true home court advantage. I don't think any Syracuse fans want to lose this first home game to Duke in the ACC. I think we got a better chance to win if we leave things like they are. It's going to be a big event as it is, and then maybe next year or the year after, we move that court to the center of the dome and go from there. But right now, I'd rather kind of see things stay status quo. And, let these new teams like Duke and Carolina come to the dome and play it the way that we've been playing it for years. If we move it to the dome, I don't think this is going to be as much of a home court advantage because everything's going to be new for the Syracuse players as well. But guess that decision's out of my hands. Daryl Gross will make that decision, and actually it's looking more and more like that is going to happen on February 1st. Maybe 50,000 people in the dome for a basketball game. I also heard rumors that they're thinking about doing that same configuration for the North Carolina game, which might make sense if you're going to go through the trouble of doing everything that goes along with pulling off something like that. You might not want it to be just for one game, and they may think that we could sell 50,000 for North Carolina as well, but I'm not a big fan of it this first year in the ACC. And, to be honest with you, what's so special about Duke or Carolina that we couldn't have done this for Georgetown, the past couple of years? or even Louisville or Villanova. But looks like it's happening for our first season in the ACC. Now, also Syracuse's football's first season in the ACC. There's just 12 games until the Syracuse-Penn State game at the Meadowlands, 3:30 p.m. on a Saturday. Huge opener for this team. After that, we travel to Northwestern. They're ranked 22nd. Beat us last year in the Dome. That's a September 7th game with a 6 p.m. kickoff. And then we host some lesser opponents over the next couple weeks. And then October 5th, we officially play our first ACC football game as we host top 10 ranked Clemson in the Dome. And I'm optimistic about this Syracuse football team. We do lose our senior quarterback, but we have a transfer from Oklahoma who is a senior. Hasn't played, has never started, never played for Syracuse, never started a game for Oklahoma. But nonetheless, you're talking about Oklahoma recruited this guy. He looks the part. He's tall. Word out of camp is that he's accurate and playing great. But we also have Terrell Hunt. He's a sophomore. Had a great spring game for Syracuse. So it's between those two. I think it's going to go to Drew Allen. I don't see Syracuse bringing in a transfer from Oklahoma, a senior, who then is going to, sit the bench again, as a backup. I think that at the end of the day, Allen's going to get the start. That's probably a good thing because he may not have experience in the orange or even with our offense, but the guy's mature. He's obviously a good quarterback, and really this is chance for it's like an NFL tryout for the kid. So I think we'll be okay with Drew Allen at quarterback. Hey, our running backs for Syracuse, forget about it. You got Jerome Smith and Prince Tyson Gully, probably the best 1-2 punch in the country, and a host of others backing them up. Donis Amin Moore maybe getting some goal line carries, and a lot of young guys too in camp for Syracuse at running back. But I got to tell you, we're looking pretty good at running back. Offensive line's pretty solid. Some new faces. Wide receivers, we lost Alec Lemon, Marcus Sales. But, hey, we're pretty loaded at wide receiver. We got guys like Jared West and Fleming and really about 6-7 deep. Who knows who's going to, make all the catches. But we're pretty solid there, too. So I like our offense. And then on defense, our defensive line is got a couple new faces, too, but pretty solid. But our linebacking core is ridiculously good. Dyshawn Davis, Cameron Lynch, Marquise Spruill, and then there's about 4 or 5 other guys behind them who look like they're ready to play. In our secondary, we got new safeties. We got experienced corners. We got a great kicker, new punter, but, punter's a punter. And I think top to bottom, we're a pretty solid team, and I think we have a chance to contend for the ACC title in our first year. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but you got to believe, right? Speaking about football, Buffalo Bills getting ready to open their first campaign under former Syracuse coach Doug Marrone, and a little quarterback controversy brewing in Buffalo. Kevin Cobb or the rookie first-round draft pick E.J. Manuel, who's going to start at quarterback? Well, Manuel looked great against the Vikings on Friday night. He went 10 for 12, net for 92 yards. Cobb wasn't quite as efficient, but tweaked his knee apparently, and Manuel underwent a procedure on his left knee on Sunday morning, and he's out for the rest of the preseason. Now, does that mean Kevin Cobb will start for the Bills? I would think it does. I don't think that Marrone and company, and also former Syracuse offensive coordinator Nate Hackett, are going to be wanting to go week one with a rookie, especially a guy who was they took kind of a lot earlier than anybody else wanted to. But I think they would probably go with a more experienced guy in Cobb. But in recent years in the NFL, whether it's RG3 or Andrew Luck or Russell Wilson, it seems like rookie quarterbacks are stepping right in and then getting the job done, which is used to be kind of sacrilege to start a rookie. Usually needed a couple years. Actually, going back maybe 10, 15 years, they used to, you were a top drafted rookie quarterback, you might sit behind the starter for 2 or 3 years or more, before you got your chance. But without Manuel getting these preseason snaps, it's hard for me to think he'll be named the starter, but you never know. And, the thing about the Bills this year is the AFC East is down. The Jets are kind of in disarray. They're talking about starting Sanchez or Geno Smith. Wow. Then you got the Dolphins, who are improved, but are they really that improved over, what they've done over the past 5-10 years? I mean, they've almost been as bad as the Bills. And then the Patriots, Tom Brady, a little older. The Aaron Hernandez off-field situation. I think the AFC is kind of as wide open as it's been. And the AFC East might be, the weakest division of football. So the stage is set for Marone and company to potentially make the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. I know that your regular host of the show probably doesn't think that's going to happen. He's had some things to say about the Bills over the years and Marone, but should be interesting in football season just around the corner. So I like Syracuse to win the ACC. I like the Bills to contend in the AFC East. And, of course, this week, Syracuse basketball live on Time Warner Cable Sports Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday. Wednesday, they play at McGill. Thursday night, they play against Bishops at McGill. Friday against Carleton, and Saturday at Ottawa. All games televised on Time Warner Cable Sports. And got some more stuff to talk about. I don't know if you caught that Yankees-Red Sox game last night, but A-Rod got beamed, and I got some things to say about that. But first, I want you to sit back and take a look at our great sponsors that make this show possible. And welcome back, everybody, to Weber This Week. Thanks to the fine sponsors that make this show possible, including Hugo Lake National Bank, Wilson Press, DA Liquors. Should have probably wrote them all down because there are quite a few that support Harold in this show on FingerLakes1.tv, Seneca Falls Country Club, Dan Miller Motors, and Wadhams out of Phelps. Employer of choice. If you're looking for a new career, they're always looking for drivers. And, I think that's about it. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Dick Marshall's Auto Sales, of course, up there in 5 and 20. Just take a drive up, see what he's got in the lot. So, I don't know if anybody saw this baseball game last night on ESPN, the Yankees-Red Sox. I'm kind of gotten a little numb to the old Yankee-Red Sox rivalry because they seem to play, on ESPN 12 times a year. And, of course, Red Sox leading the AL East. Yankees about, 7 games back. And last night they're in Fenway, and they're losing. And A-Rod comes up. Ryan Dempster pitching. And he beans him up high. Totally intentional. Obviously intentional. Girardi runs out of the dugout, goes crazy, gets tossed. Dempster gets warned, but is allowed to stay in the game. And, that was about a 92-mile-per-hour fastball that hit A-Rod in the shoulder. and on a 3-0 pitch. So A-Rod took first base. Later in the game, he comes up against Dempster, hits a solo shot, home run, ends up sparking a big inning. Yankees go on and win. It was a 4-run inning, I think, in the 6th when A-Rod homered. Good game. Could be the type of game that would spur the Yanks to make a late run at the wild card. There's a lot of teams between them and the last wild card spot, though, even though they're only about 6 games back in that race for the wild card. In the AL East, you got Boston in first, Tampa right behind them, and Baltimore only 5 games back. Tampa only 1.5 games back. Now, you hear a lot about money in baseball over the past decade or so, how the Yankees buy their championships and these other smaller market teams don't have a chance. Just look at Tampa. They're there every year. Kudos to Joe Madden. He's obviously a great manager. Baltimore, too, small market team. They're in second place, or third place behind Tampa. And, look at the Pittsburgh Pirates in the NL Central. They're 72-51. They lost a game in 16 innings last night to, I think St. Louis maybe even pulled even with them in the NL Central. And the Cincinnati Reds, are only a game and a half behind them. So, great race in the NL Central. The Pirates. 3-8 in their last 10 games, though. So, if you remember last year, the Pirates also got off to a decent start and really tanked in the second half. So we'll have to keep an eye on that race. The Dodgers, unbelievable. 42-8 in their last 50 games before losing last night. They got a 7.5 game lead in the West, and Yasiel Puig, one of the big reasons why. So Don Mattingly's Dodgers looking good, running away with the NL West. And how about the Atlanta Braves? Class of the major leagues with 76 wins, 15-game lead over Washington in the NL East, and even more over the Mets. But Atlanta's an amazing organization, how they continue over the years just to keep winning. And they're going to be there in the postseason again this year. Now, Atlanta always seems to make the postseason, but only once out of maybe, 15 times did they win it all. But that's another story. And then in the AL Central, you got Detroit, the Tigers, probably one of the best teams in baseball with the best player in baseball, Miguel Cabrera, chasing another Triple Crown this year. And a great battle in the AL West between Texas and Oakland. Texas holds a slim 1.5 game lead over the A's. Another small market team. So I guess the myth of, the Yankees just buying championships is not necessarily holding true. Like I say, with teams like Tampa, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, all in the hunt, Oakland. So should be a great stretch run in the world of Major League Baseball and an awesome postseason. So also last night, not sure if you caught it, but the Solheim Cup, the best women golfers of America against the best women golfers of Europe at Colorado Golf Club. Beautiful track. Watched a lot of that this weekend. Not a good weekend for the ladies, though, from America. Europe wins 18-10, winning the Solheim Cup, taking that back across the pond. I'm sure next week the Web Dog will have something to say about Michelle Wee, who was a captain selection for this team that lost 18-10. You get a point for each match, so that's a drubbing. No doubt. A little anticlimactic during the singles matches last night. Watching those on the Golf Channel. So, how about on the track? Joey Logano won at Michigan Sunday. Big win. He needs it to stay in the running for the chase for the Cup. He'll also need a strong run next week when the NASCAR circuit moves to the short track at Bristol, 7:30 p.m. start. Love the night races. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but I don't mind sitting down watching a night race on Saturday night at Bristol. Short track. A lot of bumping and grinding. Also a lot of cautions. And, hey, anybody that watched that race in Watkins Glen last weekend, coming down to the end, 7, 8 of the last 10 laps under caution, It's kind of boring. You know, you want to see these guys race, not drive around the track in order. But probably see a lot of that at Bristol, too, with the short track. A lot of bumping and grinding, a lot of cautions. How about the Dick's Sporting Goods Open down in Enjoy this weekend in the Southern Tier? Bart Bryant gets the win at the Dick's Sporting Goods Open. I didn't talk to anybody around here that went down to that. Maybe it's because of the PGA Tour, a little bit of fatigue, golf fatigue after the PGA Championship up in Rochester. But if you get a chance to go down there to Enjoy and watch this, you're going to see a lot of big names, well-known names. But this year it was Bart Bryant winning the Dick's Sporting Goods Open on the Champions Tour. Hey, fantasy football. Bet you some of you guys have already had your fantasy football drafts. Mine's on Saturday. Haven't really looked at anything. Not sure who I'm going to be taking with my first pick. Not sure what my first pick is. But it is that time of year, and I'm going to have to sit down tonight, this week, and crunch some numbers and make my list. Because fantasy football draft next Saturday night. And looking ahead, got a little bit of announcement here before I get out of here on the Weber This Week show. FingerLakes1.com high school basketball webcasts are currently, our schedule is being put together. We plan to do 12-game schedule, similar to last year. Might add a couple more. We do got the first game, though. It's going to be on November 30th. Minders Academy at Clyde. Finger Lakes One Sports will be there. Not sure who's going to be announcing. Dave Barnick, Brendan Harrington, Matt Verke, Kevin Korzaneski. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But we'll be there, and that should be game number 1 of our schedule. Minders at Clyde, you remember they met in Waterloo last year in the in sectionals. And Minders eliminated Clyde. Minders loses their starting point guard, Brandon Passalacqua, but they do return Luke Ruddy, one of the best big men in Section 5 and in the Wayne Finger Lakes leagues. But Clyde's pretty strong, too. Got a kid named Cam DeSanto that seems like he's been playing on varsity for Clyde forever. So it'll be fun to see Cam DeSanto and Luke Ruddy match up in Clyde November 30th to kick off our season. And other than that, keep an eye on FingerLakes1.com homepage. When we got the schedule finalized, we'll post it in a little news item. And we'll see if we're coming to your gym. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Should be a great week if you're a Syracuse basketball fan. Sitting at home watching Syracuse basketball live in August for 4 straight games. First look at these freshmen. First look at Tyler S. I think we got a great team. I think we got a team that can return to the Final Four and go beyond. I think that we got a team that may be better than last year's team. Hard to believe I would say that with Michael Carter-Williams gone, 4-year starter Brandon Trish gone, but out with the old and in with the new, I guess. You know, with Syracuse basketball, we don't rebuild, we reload. So enjoy the games this week, guys. Enjoy the warm weather across the Finger Lakes as we warm up just a little bit more, but it should be beautiful. For Harold Weber, I'm Jim Sinacropi. Have a great week, folks.